Hey everyone, what's going on? Mark here from TST Industries, back in the garage. And in this video, I will be guiding you through the installation process of our TST LED front pod turn signals on the all-new 2024 Yamaha MT-09. Now, before I begin, I do just want to disclose some information. Obviously, we are showing you the installation with our pod turn signals. And in this video, I will be showing the installation of our Quadrix pod turn signals, which do feature a 3-wire circuit. And what that means is that these signals are designed to enable a running light function without additional hardware. Now, it is pretty common that when signals do have 3 wires, they are utilizing that 3rd wire for the running light function, but there are many signals out there that only offer 2-wire circuits, which is just a signal circuit. And that is 99% of our inventory for aftermarket turn signals that only feature a 2-wire circuit. If you want to enable a running light function on those signals, you will need other means of connectivity. Luckily, we do have a plug-and-play solution for you, and that is our TST Running Mate. This introduces the running light function in a plug-and-play manner. You can see here we would connect the 2 wires from the signal to the 2 wires on the Running Mate, and then the Running Mate will connect to our plug-and-play harness converters on your motorcycle. One more thing to note is that we do offer a front pod turn signal bundle for this model, and that means that it is a one-stop shop. If you purchase everything through the pod turn signal bundle product page, you will receive the signals of your choice, the necessary mounting adapters, and the plug-and-play harness converters. I think that covers all of our bases. This is a very straightforward installation process, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So to begin this installation process, we do need to gain access behind these panels. We will do so by grabbing a 4mm hex bit, hex key, Allen key, whatever tool you have handy, and remove the 2 bolts. One is located here, and the other is located on this bottom face here. Now with those bolts removed, we can go ahead and gently pry outward on this panel here, starting at the bottom and gently moving upward. You can see once we remove it, what actually engages here are these little lips found all along the interface, and they interlock into these receiving channels on the signal shroud. Toss that to the side, and now you can see we have full access to the wiring. On this side, we do have 2 connectors here. We will be focusing on the connector that is more towards the top, and it does have 3 wires going into it and coming out of it, whereas the bottom connector only has, it actually has 4 wires. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this connector. Before we do that, we do need to snip this zip tie that is securing this in place. Toss that to the side. And now if you have a small pick or a small flathead, you can use that to make it easier to disengage the locking tab on the turn signals. There is this tab here, and if you press hard enough, you can disengage it by hand. Using a small tool will help you. You just want to gently lift up and then pull downward, and now you have freed the signal wiring from the OEM connector. Now we will route these wires in a way that we can gain access. And we are going to focus on the wire with the blue tape on the left side. Route this towards the rear, or towards the inner portion of the bike, I should say, towards the rear of the signal shroud. And now the next step to removing the actual signal from the shroud is pretty easy. However, if you don't know what you're doing, this may seem a little confusing. So I'm going to actually remove the signal, and then I'm going to show you what we're doing behind the scenes, so that way you can get a better understanding, because our camera just doesn't fit back here. So as you can see, I just pushed the signal inward towards the signal shroud and the inner portion of the motorcycle, and then routed it outward. And what we're doing in that moment behind the scenes is you have this plastic tab that is securing the signal shape. This is all just rubber, and with this locking tab in place, this actually holds the structural integrity so that it doesn't really bend. So what we do is we force it forward, And while it's pushed past the actual interlocking face, it gives us enough clearance to then lift outward on these rubber tabs, freeing the locking tab from the channels. And then we can go ahead and remove the signal from the shroud. Now, we're not completely done with the OEM signal. We do need to reuse a sleeve that is kind of inconspicuous here, but there's a rubber sleeve on this signal, and you can actually just pry up on it and it'll peel right off. We are going to reuse that. We'll just snake the signal through it, toss our stock signal to the side. And with this rubber sleeve, rubber grommet in place, we're going to go ahead and reinsert it onto the signal shroud. We do have a small channel here. I hope you can see it. We have a small channel here and a flat face on one side and a not flat face on the other side. We need the flat face facing outward, so we're just going to go ahead and warp it so that it locks into that channel, and just like that, you're good to go. Now, grabbing the TST hardware of your choice, whatever signal that may have been. In this case, we will be doing the Quadrix signals. We are going to go ahead and grab our signal, remove the locking nut and the washer. This is all just prep work to actually mount the signal onto the bike. Toss that to the side, and now we will go ahead and grab our pod turn signal kit. Now, if you did purchase the bundle, you will note that you received a mounting kit that has 6 pieces. These are 3, they're doubled up, so you will get these 3 times 2. In this particular installation, we are actually going to toss aside the flat washer. We will not be using it, and we will only be using the 2 teardrop shaped washers. One is larger than the other. So at this point, we'll go ahead and actually insert the larger of the 2 washers inverse, and then the smaller of the 2 we will put on the opposite side. And you can rearrange it how you'd like. Some aftermarket turn signals have a longer thread. If they do, you can actually put the larger washer with the convex side facing outward. If you have a signal with a shorter stud, you would do it the opposite way. So we're going to go ahead, we'll actually do it this way because our signals do have a slightly longer shroud, or slightly longer stud I should say, and then the smaller washer we will put inverse. So on the signal shroud they will sit just like this, facing the same direction. Smaller one on the interface, larger one on the outside. And you could see, well, I don't know if you could see on camera, but we do have a pass-through hole for that signal shroud. At this point, we can go ahead and grab our turn signal, feed the wires through, feed the wires all the way through both adapter plates, and then we will go ahead and grab our washer and the locking nut that we removed and snake the wires through both of those components, and then the locking nut as well. Now up until this point, everything will be exactly the same no matter what pod turn signal choice you chose. Now the locking nut on the signal is a 13mm locking nut. All right, now with a few threads caught on that signal, we are locked in place and secured. And you can see here, now we just have to connect the signal to our harness converters and then to the bike. However, before we do that, I'm just gonna route this wire here. I do want to show the difference in the connection if you aren't using these particular turn signals and you're only using a 2-wire setup, but still want to retain that running light function. So I have our BL6s here, and you can see the difference. We have 3 wires on our Quadrix signals with the built-in running light circuit, and we only have 2 wires here. If you were using a 2-wire system with our running mate, you would simply connect yellow to yellow and black to black. Isolate the connectors, with the rubber sleeves and then some electrical tape for added security. And then at this point you have the same breakdown, and you can go ahead and connect it to our harness converters, which would then connect to your OEM connector on your bike. That's the only difference. In this situation, our Quadrix signals do have the built-in running light function, so we do not need to use our TST running mate. For this reason, we will bypass that step and simply connect the signals to our TST 3-to-3 harness converters. Now, I should also mention that this is specific to North America. We are in North America. If you are an international customer and you're watching this, you may not have the running light function on your front turn signals from the factory. By purchasing our signals and connecting them, that won't magically introduce that circuit. So please note, the electrical connectors found on your bike, if you are an international customer, may be different. An easy way to tell is just to check how many wires are going in to your turn signal connector. If you have 2 wires, you will need a different connector. We do have that available on our website, so be sure to read through the product pages fully. Now back to the install, pretty straightforward, brown to brown. And you want to connect the bullet connectors until you hear and feel a snap, and then you want to twist the rubber sleeves over the bullet connectors so that they interlock and isolate them. Then we'll go blue to blue. For reference, the blue wire is the running light wire on our turn signals. And again, we're just going to twist the rubber sleeve over the connectors, slip that over, and then red to red. And now, before we wrap this up and use electrical tape for added security, let's go ahead and test our turn signal function. So we'll connect it like so, power the bike on. You can see here we do have our running light function, and when we activate the signal, these are sequential. You have the sequential turn signal function, and then when it turns off, the running light function returns. So we know everything is connected properly. Pretty happy with this. Now let's go ahead and clean this up, call it a day, and then we can hop on over to the other side and mirror this installation process. Now, although we did isolate these connectors, we'd like to provide a little bit added security and kind of make it a cohesive look. You can see here everything here is wrapped in electrical tape from the factory. So we're going to go ahead and grab some electrical tape now. And the easiest way to do this is you don't apply it straight onto the connector. You go at a little bit of an angle. And then you can go ahead and isolate one connector. And once you have one connector secured with electrical tape, you will go ahead and grab a second connector and add that to the bunch. So you are effectively isolating one and then adding it into the second. Now you really don't have to worry about it. We will add a second piece of electrical tape to make it a very clean installation process. And again, we'll do the same on the third wire by itself. We will isolate that connector and then bundle this all together. You can see here, you have a nice, neat bundle of wiring. You don't have to worry about too much. Now we can go ahead, and if you haven't already, you can route the signal wire through this guide on the upper portion of the shroud. And then the other 2 wires that you had removed, the 2 wires that were on there already, you can snake through the forward portion. There's a little channel here. And the one from the signal is actually going to sit in this rear channel. And then you're just going to bundle this up. Now, if you have some zip ties, you can go ahead and utilize a small zip tie. If you don't have zip ties, you can use the twist ties that are included with our turn signals to secure it in place. I have a nifty little zip tie that is the same size and dimensions as the one we cut off from the factory. And we're actually going to snake it through this channel here to secure the wire in place. So let's go ahead and do that now. Just like that. And then route the wires. Get a nice little bundle going on here. And then secure it in place. Snip off the excess. And now we can begin the reinstallation process. You do have a wire guide down here. If you have some excess wires, you can route that through this retaining clip here. Make sure everything is, again, nice and neat. Now at this point, we will go ahead and grab the OEM signal shroud. And again, this interlocks into these channels. It's easiest to start at the top. You have this locking retaining clip here that the OEM bolt inserts into, and it will sit in this channel. So I always like to start up there, and then I just work my way down, making sure everything lines up. And once I'm in a really good spot, you just press down. And just like that, this is now locked in place. We can go ahead and grab the 2 bolts we removed. And then grab the one on the bottom. All right, and once you bottom these bolts out, you maybe just want to turn it another 1/16 of a rotation or 1/8 of a rotation just to create some preloaded tension. You don't want to go beyond that because you can skip a thread on the fastener and then potentially compromise the integrity of that fastener, and then you may have bolts or this signal shroud flopping around in the wind, and no one really wants that. But now you can hop on over to the other side of the bike and repeat these steps. They are exactly the same from one side to the other, and you can have full confidence knowing that you now have the ability to swap out your front turn signals on your MT-09 for something that you desire. And as you can see, we ditched the OEM turn signals. We introduced a more aggressive and streamlined turn signal with improved functions, with the sequential turn signal function, and of course, the super bright running light function paired with that. It's a winning combination, and best of all, it was completely plug and play with no serious modifications needed to your motorcycle. If you like this product, you want to check it out, or you want to see what other turn signals we have available or other products we have available for your MT-09, please be sure to stop by our website, tstindustries.com. The link to our front pod turn signal bundle can be found in the description below. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn that notification bell on to stay up to date with all the new and exciting videos we've got going on. We have plenty more planned for this 4th generation Yamaha MT-09. And lastly, don't forget to stop by our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all username TST Industries. For now, this has been Mark in the TST garage, and we will catch you next time. Ride safe.